Okay, sorry. I'm having a few technical glitches.
We are free with one voice and one heart. We're resisting with one voice and one heart in unity. Okay, and then I'm going to teach you. We're going to substitute one word in that, the heart, with one voice and one heart. We're going to substitute it with one heart, and then we're going to do one mind, and then we're going to do one soul, and one love. Okay? I think, hopefully that works.
Do you have your cell phone clip, Patty?
Huh?
Do you have your cell phone clip?
Okay. No, I never got one.
You never got one?
I swear I ordered it. And I ordered the bar too, I never got it. I don't know what happened. I didn't follow
It's Sky, yeah. He's one of our friends. Yeah, he's one of our friends, we know. I'm surprised he's not here tonight.
And when Freedom's not here either.
She's not a part.
She came today.
Yeah, she came to the foreclosure thing because she thinks there's fame in it for her now. Because we've gotten so much hits with all of yeah. We've gotten a lot of hits. So, how many viewers you got?
The same 14 as you. You're at 15 now.
Okay. Basically, people are sitting at home on their computers watching this live while we stream it. We either have the same 14 people watching, or we have a different 14 people.
I got it.
Okay, try it, guys. It's going to be, now we're going to sing with one voice and one mind. With one voice and one mind, we're surviving. With one voice and one mind, we are free. With one voice and one mind, we're resisting. With one voice and one mind in unity. Okay, great. So now let's try with one voice and one love. Okay, that's the last one. You can do this. Come on. With one voice and one love, we're surviving. With one voice and one love, we are free. With one voice and one love, we're resisting. With one voice and one love in unity. All right, good. Thank you, guys.
Okay, come on. Somebody wants to share some memory from first year and what you're looking forward to, anything?
Florence wants to say something.
Who does?
Florence does. No. he does. I don't know, maybe he does. He was kidding he was going to say some ugly thing.
Ed, come on up.
He did his thing. Richard, are you talking?
We should have an Occupy yearbook.
I know.
So we could sign it. Yeah, most likely.
I bet that way Petey has one.
Most likely to get
I bet DHS has one. We should have one.
most likely to leave the basement.
I want to talk.
Most
Mic
possibly.
check. All right, let's get a little dance going here before we do this. We need a little unity here. Let's think of one from the foreclosure action today.
Most money stolen.
They got bailed out. Wait, we got sold out. They got bailed out. We got sold out. They got bailed out. We got sold out. The banks got bailed out. We got sold out. The banks got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. You've heard before. Yeah, so this is exactly. From New York to LA, occupy the USA. From New York to LA,
know, that this is probably the most exciting, meaningful movement that has happened in my lifetime. And by coming to City Hall, when I met all of you guys, I had never encountered so many people of like mind before. I've been involved, politically for a while off and on with various causes, but this was the first time I really felt I saw myself mirrored in the public, in the social fabric of this country. I never really saw that before. I would love to see that continue despite the kind of factioning that I've seen also happen that's divided us. I'd really like to. Where? I don't see it.
Here we are.
Right, I'd like us to find ways of bridging that so that like an event like tonight could be so much bigger. I think there are so many of us that feel the way those of us who are here tonight feel, but for whatever reason they've fallen through the cracks, and I'd love to see that bridged. I don't know the answer to that exactly, but I can tell you that this movement changed my life. I can no longer integrate back with regular society the same way. I've been so altered in the way that I view things, and it's been made much more challenging to reconcile kind of the light that I've now seen with regular society, which is so in the dark. We're still living in the dark ages. I think through connecting with each other is where we're going to find those solutions of how to work kind of within regular society to turn the light on for them as well. I think that's basically what I want to say in a nutshell. I've been permanently changed by this movement, and I mean, I'll never go back to the way that I was before.
That was great.
Thank you.
Well, unless somebody else has joined the stack, then Shakti is next on stack to talk about, I believe, our music program for the weekend. We are, by the way, we're going to be, tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to be at Fletcher Bowron Square, which is on Main and Temple. It's diagonally like across the street, well, actually across the street, it is across the street from City Hall Park, on top of CBS and all that. We're going to be there because last weekend and this weekend, they've decided to close the public park for a private film shoot. And I understand there's police reinforcements all over the barrier. So we really want to have a fun-filled and educational weekend. We really don't want to see people arrested. So we decided we would move across from City Hall Park, Fletcher Bowron Park. We will probably have some activities like the really free market at City Hall Park as well. But we'll be there during the day, during the weekend. Our current plan will be when we break from our day's activities at 7, we'll come back to Pershing Square for the evening's music program. If for some reason Pershing Square stays closed at night, which we don't envision because you can't film shoot at night, then we'll have an alternative plan for you. So Shakti, come on up.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, Saturday night there's supposed to be music here, starting at 7. Okay, so we have some cool bands coming, so I hope you all come and show some support for them. They're coming because they love Occupy.
Here?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, well, what happened with me was I'm a fan of Democracy Now! So I was watching Democracy Now! Last year, about this time, and
You want the people's mic?
I was watching Democracy Now! A year ago.
and then
Some water? Anybody got water?
I hear about
Hey,
Water right there.
whisper to me. I'll say it. I saw Democracy Now!
it said that there were people meeting overnight. They were sleeping overnight at the park here.
It said there were people sleeping overnight at the park here.
So I came down a couple days later
So I came down a couple days later,
after work,
after work.
and I was very surprised.
You weren't? And I was very impressed.
Good.
What's this? Here, this is Chanel herbal. Oh, this is Louis Vuitton herbal spray. Louis Vuitton herbal spray?
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Now look, guys, if I can do this in front of all of you can come up here. Please. Please.
Okay.
And then I got involved with wellness. I thought, well, I'm a mom now. I can't be a big activist. That's dangerous. So I'm going to be involved with wellness.
You can still whisper to me. I got the orange name.
Somebody else get on stage to say
Okay. Next. Good try.
So I came out for the Obama demonstration that launched this, more or less. But there were actually, I don't know if people even know this, there were 2 demonstrations against Obama that day. One was developed by the Southern California Immigration Coalition at one of the venues, and then there was the Occupy. So I went to both of them because I tend to do that. And then I marched myself up whatever street it was and through 2 police cordons to join the Occupy one. I had a funny relationship to Occupy, particularly at the beginning, because just before Occupy started, my wife moved up to Eureka to help our daughter and my grandson. My daughter wanted to go back to school and become a nurse. So I was going back and forth from LA to Northern California. I couldn't really participate in the occupation itself. I would keep leaving town. But there was a big Occupy movement actually up there. There was Occupy Arcata, Occupy Eureka, Occupy Humboldt State University, and Occupy Humboldt County. So I would spend some time with them, then I'd come back down here. I will have to honestly say that this was not the high point of my life, because I've been through quite a number of extremely large mass movements. I'm a little bit older even than the last person said he's in his 60s. But this was extremely rejuvenating and inspiring, and people say we are the people we've been waiting for.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people were waiting for us, and we stepped up. A lot of people here stepped up, and many other people who were not here stepped up, and a lot of people we probably don't even know stepped up. So I want to talk about 2 or 3 high points of this past year or so for me. One was the anti-police brutality march, unpermitted and unauthorized by Occupy. Actually, it was an autonomous action, but many occupiers joined in. We took the streets. We marched from City Hall practically over to Staples Center, and we stopped traffic. And the response from the people in the cars that were stopped was ecstatic. They were unbelievably supportive. I've been at some demonstrations where people have stopped traffic in LA, and normally that's like the worst crime you can commit, and people hate your guts. And here people were grabbing for leaflets and blowing their horns and flashing V's and cheering us on as we did it. So that was a sign to me that you can go out to people with very strong politics, and people will respond because they understand why you're doing it, and with very strong actions. Another very powerful thing for me was Occupy the Ports. 2 weeks after the 1,400 cops evicted us and 300 people were arrested, we brought 700 or 800 people down to Long Beach in the rain, in the dark, and we basically did shut the port of Long Beach and probably the port of LA because the freeways were so tied up. The port truckeros did stay out in the morning, and when they were told to come in the afternoon, they could not get off the roads because the cops had tied so much up. They brought out the port police, the Long Beach police, and they did the job for us in a sense that we couldn't. But we did demonstrate then, and we've continued to demonstrate. Evict us, we multiply. And I think that's really a powerful message. And then, May 1st, I think, was a big statement, too, that without the physical occupation, that Occupy was still here and could bring people through downtown and into this movement, and people who came from the various winds. A lot of people never come east of La Cienega, came downtown and mixed it up. People in South LA who don't feel safe coming up to downtown came up. People from the east side and San Fernando Valley, and we've seen all that is still perpetuated. Occupy Venice has done very strong actions recently to support the homeless. Occupy San Fernando Valley is doing. Fort Hernandez, the East Wind and the South Wind are still doing things that will reverberate long, after those particular actions are over. I think those are very, very significant. I want to say a couple other things. I taught English as a second language here in Los Angeles for many, many years, and so one of the other very powerful things for me were that quite a number of occupiers came out, live streamers came out to the demonstrations of the adult education students here in Los Angeles, and I do think that Occupy made a difference in helping those students, even more so than the teachers, win their struggle to preserve adult education. It's not what it was, it's about half of what it was, but it still exists, thanks in part to Occupy massifying and propagating and expanding that message beyond the ranks of the students themselves. People went out to the East Side demonstration, people came over here to Beaudry, and that was very, very significant. But one of the things I always used to tell my students when I taught English, we would practice various things. So it was like, how long can you live without food? How long can you live without food?
3 days?
Huh? No, you can live
3 weeks.
30. No, people can live 60 days without food. Person hunger strikers, the Irish who went to death, you can go for a month or two without food if you have water. How long can you go without water?
3 days.
3 days, 4 days, and then you're dead. How long can you go without oxygen?
Maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes. But there's one thing that you cannot go without for a second, and that's love. And so this is the embodiment of love to me and the expression of love. And I know there's factionalism and people don't live up to it, but this is just the fact that, we love each other and we love the struggle and we love the world we're trying to build and the world we're trying to save. And I think that that's why we're still here. Thank you. Yay! You ready?
We've got 2 more people on stack. How does everyone feel about breaking after hearing those 2 people and having lunch or dinner? Good? Yeah. All right. Who's the next person? Nikki. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mickey.
So I have only been I came to Occupy a few times over the last few months. My story is that I started bopping around with some guys in New York talking about what was happening in the financial industry and wanting to make a protest. Now, I've been an activist in LA for years. Like, last time that I saw something as awesome as what you guys did over here at City Hall was the Justice for Janitors March that we did there when I was a teenager. And we were bobbing around New York, we're thinking, okay, maybe if we get 2,000 people to Zuccotti Square, this is going to be awesome. And then it was several thousand people, and then it wasn't New York, and then it wasn't even fucking Wall Street. At that point, we were occupying anything that had anything to do with the inequality in this country and how it manifests itself in our lives. And it's been amazing. Thank you, all of you, for that, for rocking it out. You guys are rock stars. But unfortunately, I spent the rest of most of last year actually outside of the United States. And so what I wanted to come back and sort of report to you here about how Occupy looks from the outside is the hope that you give everyone. Because people outside of the United States know that there's a problem here. They think we don't know. And when we stand up and we say that we know, everyone else in the world is so inspired by that. And I'm so inspired by you guys. And so my memory about the last year that I haven't been in all of the Occupy movements, but I've stopped in and I've seen the guys in DC and I've seen the guys in Boston and I've come here and seen what's going on here. And then going outside of the United States and seeing the way that people look at you, like people look at all of you, and the hope that you give them about this world, it's incredible. So, now I'm getting like really emo. I wanted to thank you for that, and thank you for still being here, and I wanted to talk about what's going to happen next year. I hope that we keep coming back and we keep fighting for these things. And, I've heard from people that got up here and spoke a lot about sort of the factionalism that was going on inside of the movement. But I have to tell you, because I haven't been here on a day-to-day basis, and I have to tell you that everybody else that's at home watching on their television, they don't know that. they look at us and they see people who are empowered and activated and changing the world every day. So don't let what you feel here on a day-to-day basis change the message that the hope that we're creating in the world. So, sorry, I didn't mean to trip, but
No, that's okay.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, Desiree, and then we're going to break for some food.
Alright, my name is Desiree. For those of you who don't know me, my story is a little bit different. I was kind of in the same boat as the last speaker. I actually came from New York when I first kind of started realizing what was going on with the world. I was living in Florida, and I was working for one of the biggest freaking corporations, Walt Disney World, and I realized as I looked at my paycheck every week that there was slight inequality between what Michael Eisner and the other CEOs were making as to what I was making per year. And I just so happened to decide that I had this pull inside of me. I didn't know what it was, but I knew there was something that I needed to do, like that was going on. There was something else to life. I couldn't just sit in a window and sell tickets and all this kind of stuff. So I saved up my money and I moved to New York. And it just so happened to be about 1 month and 2 days before Occupy started. And I knew about Occupy before I moved there, but I didn't move there for Occupy. I came down to Lower Manhattan about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, there you go.
About 10 o'clock in the morning on September 17th. There were a couple people that had started gathering already, but not too many. About 12 o'clock, hundreds and hundreds of people started flooding into Lower Manhattan. We started off at Bowling Green, and then the police started to kettle us in and push us towards the backside, towards the museum. So we decided to take another point, and we had a map with like different locations on it. So we decided to go to Zuccotti Park. And when we got there, we decided to have our first, actually not the first, because the first General Assembly was actually held at Bowling Green to decide to go to Zuccotti's. But once we got to Zuccotti, we decided as a General Assembly that we were going to stay the night there. We were going to hold down the park. And I remember all I had was one sheet and a little tiny pillow. And I was freezing that night. But it was the most beautiful thing in the world. And I woke up the next day, actually, when I still had an apartment at that time. When I was also working. I was working the day of the Brooklyn Bridge and the 700 mass arrests. I was getting tweets on my phone, and that was the day that I decided that I couldn't do this anymore. I quit my job. I moved out of my apartment. I moved into Zuccotti Park. And I lived there for just about a month and a half before we got evicted on November 15th.
Yeah.
And so from there, my biggest focus was around the stop and frisk policy that's in New York, around police brutality and mass incarceration as well. That's taken me on a journey like I never even imagined. Coming from Florida, I always thought the police were my friend and all this kind of stuff. And I learned real quick that that was not the case. And but yeah, I've traveled from New York. I was also part of Occupy DC at McPherson Square for over a month and a half. Got evicted from there too. And then I've also traveled to NATO, Chicago. I went to the Occupy National Gathering in Philadelphia. And then I came out here to Los Angeles, and I've been here for almost 4 months now. Taking part in
Welcome to LA.
Been taking part in the CCA action as well as working with LA Kin, and I've also been part of Fort Hernandez. And it's been beautiful. I love everybody out here, and thank you.
Yes. You ready?
All right, food time.
Food time! Please don't stampede the food
Get in
servers.
line.
Love lines sometimes.
One line.
Okay, where's her? Because I need to go film the food, so I can't keep watching her back. I think she's like over there somewhere. I don't know. Does she need to use the restroom? I don't know where she is. She's probably actually, I'm gonna stop recording and tell you. It's probably having a medicine break. Okay, I'm muting right now. Sorry about the mute. I just had a little private conversation real quick. Yeah, she left me with her bag
City and wound up at the top of the hill. We had to break through there.
Hey now.
Get live. What's up, Patty? I'm just thinking about you on the way here.
Yeah, we also get
Venice last week.
Yes, indeed.
And I saw him in Venice. And I was like, hey, that guy was at Occupy.
Yes, indeed. We occupy art wherever we go.
I say, hey, I said, hey, what's going on? And I wake up in the morning, I look inbound, and I take a big look, and I look outside, and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I sing, yeah, rock and roll! Rock and roll! Yeah! Encore! Rock and roll! Let's go! No, hell no, you can't! Oh yeah! Down to your poverty. Necessary to bring rock and roll back to the culture. We have to pull out all the stops. We got the bath salts. How would you prove that you have the brainwashing of bath
Can you watch your auto fight real quick? Oh, I need to take my bag too. Sorry, guys.
Thank you for watching it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. What's up?
Do you prefer Tony D or CR?
Why, are they both here? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
No, right there. Scared just not fit.
Go smack it out of his hand. So, thank you guys for watching. Is the screen black again? We have probably about 100 people here now, Katuska. You should come out. People are all around, eating, hanging out. So,
you can see, we have a whole bunch of people here. Mostly old faces, some new faces, some faces we haven't seen in a really long time, which is really, really awesome. Yeah. Let me see if I can back up enough so you guys can see. There's a pretty full group here at Pershing. Walk around the outside. We got an FTP action going live right now. FTP, feed the people. This is our